joined by Mike DeCourcy. He's with us from the Big Ten Network and the Sporting News. How long have you been with the Sporting News? 25 years plus?
I started writing columns on a regular basis, one a week for the magazine in 1995, November of 95. So basically, we're into the 28th year that I've been there.
That's remarkable to be able to be at one place for that long.
Yeah, it's been amazing to have that
experience. Especially in this field, man.
Yes.
You're one of the last of the dinosaurs.
Yes,
I don't mean that in a good way, though, because it's one of the few things that brings consistency, that is something you can count on, because people moving all over the place, there's nothing that drives me crazier than that. It's like, I love the old days. I'm a newspaper reader. Was weird. I started in high school, and it started because when I was a freshman, I forget what class it was, but every Friday we had this current events quiz, and I'm just a competitive person. I didn't care what it was. Current events, by God, I'll win that one too. And I would read the newspaper all the time, and buddy, hand up. It's one of those deals where you actually aggravate the teacher, but I didn't care. But I loved reading, and to this day, still love to go read the paper like this. I like to open it up and have it in my hands. And but I miss Rick Bozich, who is a good friend of ours, is on the show each Wednesday. I grew up with him as being the sports director at the Courier-Journal, and other guys, but I mean, he was there for a long time. And so you had that consistency of people that you knew, that you counted on. That's not the case today. And it's a shame, because most people don't know who legit media are today and aren't. Sometimes I don't know, it seems like, but it's not like it was, but you're one of the old guard, and that's meant in a good way, because it's something, it's one of those last bastions of things to hold on to.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's been fabulous to be at Sporting News that long. One of the reasons why I'm still there is that they've been so great to work with. There's never been a reason for me to want to leave. That I used to say that I've spent 2 decades looking for the jerk, and I haven't found him. Because you figure every company's got to have one, right? Or her, and I haven't found either any of them. There have not been any that I really, maybe one, but that person's not there anymore. And was not there for long. It's been, the people are just fabulous, and I will say that I am unbelievably lucky in that I've now been at BTN for 13 years. I think this is my 14th season, and it's just and there I haven't found any. And at Fox, the people I work with on the brackets for the 4th year have all been fabulous too. No one should be that lucky in terms of their work colleagues. It's just, the 99.99% track record I have of wonderful colleagues it's almost unfair. And I can't say enough how blessed I am in that respect.
Fred, I don't know I don't know those last two gentlemen,
Bill Giles and Bill Police in Chicago, and they did the Sports Writers on TV program. They were wonderful on the show. They were really the forerunner of the sports reporters, and pardon the interruption.
I loved that show, but I'll be honest with you, the guy that was on there that I could not take, that I just a guy you wanted not really punch, but in fake.
I think I know what's coming.
I guarantee you, I can't even think of his name right now. Thank God, because
I don't want to say it, because if I'm wrong, then I've outed the wrong guy.
Oh, you're not going to be wrong, I promise you, because since the show has went away, Mike Lupica.
Right? You didn't. I wasn't wrong.
Yeah,
I
I
kind
don't
of knew
know
that's
what
who
it
you
is.
meant.
He's got that air about him, and just like, dude, shut up. What do you know? It's I don't know what it was about him, because I love writers. I love the craft. I respect it. I write some, but I don't consider myself a writer. I know what a writer is. Um, and so I have great respect for it. And he just drove me insane. I have to say, and that doesn't mean he wasn't good at what he did, and maybe
Oh
it
no,
made him
he's
better,
tremendous. He's a
at
great
what he did. But yeah, I sometimes writers are better just writing.
writer. Well, Mike was a compelling figure on TV.
Absolutely, and he did what he was supposed to do. Draw this emotion is exactly what's supposed to happen.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't. When I say was, I mean I don't know if he still is doing television anywhere. Not that I just haven't seen him in that vein for a while. So he may still be out there doing
I
television.
forgot about him until this conversation came up.
But he was a compelling figure on that show. There's no question. I liked it best when they had when they first started it. They had a lot of different people roll through. They made it a venue where it would be this person from Pittsburgh and this person from Boston and this person from San Diego, and they would rotate it. And then eventually it was just the same group all the time. And I liked the show at that point, but I didn't like it as much as when they had lots of different voices coming through. I thought it was really interesting at that point. And it was still something I watched regularly, but I really enjoyed the show more when it was that rotating group of people.
It's funny, if you look up his Wikipedia, it describes it perfectly. Michael Lupica is an author of former American newspaper columnist, best known for his provocative commentary on sports in the New York Daily News and his appearances on ESPN. There you go. I mean, that's very aptly describes him. A great author of books. I guess he's just retired. He's 70 and just hanging back and chilling now.
If I had his money and I was 70, that's what I'd be doing.
I guarantee it. I would agree with you. I won't forget about let's see, tonight's game. I don't want to get to Indiana taking on Rutgers, a Rutgers team that is second in the Big Ten right now. A surprise to most of us at 8-4. Indiana 7-5. One game behind. If they win this game tonight, that puts them in a tie with Rutgers, the team that kind of started their downward. I hate to say a downward spiral, but they went through a little tailspin. They got punched in the face at Rutgers, punked, and for the next 3 games or so, their manhood was basically questioned, as it should have been, because they weren't showing it. But now these last several games, it has been an opposite team. The effort against Purdue was unbelievable. The defensive effort from start, I've said it yesterday, it looked like they had 7 guys out there with the amount of hands that were flying around, arms, defense in the lanes, blocking, working start to finish, hustle. I don't know if they can duplicate that effort a couple of days later, but kind of going to need to against a tough Rutgers team. And not just for that, for the standpoint of not losing at home and keeping this streak going to get a higher seed.
Look, Rutgers is terrific, and so it would not be an embarrassment to lose. But a lot of the ground you gain by beating Purdue at home, you lose if you give up another home game. Now, if this were the trip to Rutgers and you'd play them at home in December or whatever, it'd be different. But you're playing at home against a quality team. High quality team. You have to get those. If you want to get where Indiana wants to go, you have to win against in a game like that. It's really that simple because unless you're going to promise that you're going to go out and get Purdue back on the road, then you negate what you accomplished. So absolutely, when I say that, I don't mean it's a must win or their season's gone. None of that, but I mean, this is what good teams do, is what I'm saying. They take care of the best opponents they have at home because they know that that's an opportunity to beat a high quality team. And relative to selection and seeding. Obviously, in their case, more so seeding. Beating high quality teams is the most important ingredient. Everybody obsesses over net rankings and Ken Palm rankings and all of that. But when it comes down to it, if you look at who gets seeded, who gets selected, the number one component in all of that is quad one wins. And what that basically is, what quad one win is a quality win. That's all it is. You know, people think it's some conspiracy or something. It's really simple. The reason they use it like this is they used to use top 25 RPI wins, top 50 RPI wins as the definition of quality. And what they were told eventually by people like Ken Pomeroy and Jerry Palm and Jeff Sagarin, what they were told by those gentlemen in a meeting that I attended back in 17 or 18 was, you're
Not
messing
18,
this
right?
up. You're messing this up because it's harder to beat a top 75 team on the road than it is to beat a top 50 team at home. The statistics say that this is, so that's why quad one is basically top 30 at home, top 50 neutral, top 75 road. That's quad one. It's really simple. It's not some conspiracy. I think we could do a better job in the bracket world of explaining what it is. And I do try to tell people, go to warrennolan.com. It's a great site. It's all there for you explained. Go to the net nitty gritty, and then you will see each team's quad records broken down. There's a little icon next to each team's name that looks like a piece of paper, basically. And that is what is called their team sheet. And a team sheet is what, if I'm in the selection room and I say, I need to see, well, you don't have to ask because you can do it on the computer, but you say to yourself, I need to see Indiana's team sheet. And then you punch it up and it tells you what their net ranking is, what their record is against quad one, quad two, quad three, quad four. It tells you who, and then you can look lower and you can see who are those quad one wins against and where are they. And it tells you what each team's ranking is in Ken Palm, Sagarin, and BPI, ESPN's BPI. And then it also tells you what their record metrics, their record-based metrics are in ESPN's strength of record and the Kevin Palga's KPI. And all that information is right there for you. So when people are tweeting out, Indiana's victory against Purdue moves them up 6 spots, it doesn't matter. The important thing is they got a quad one win against the best team in the country. Now it's at home, so it loses a little teeny bit of its luster. But since nobody else has done that, it doesn't lose that much. You know, it goes from 100 to maybe a 98 on the weight scale of how important a win that is. That's what matters, not what their net ranking is. Doesn't hurt to be 20th, but it's not what's being evaluated really. So focus in on that, and it's an easy site to access. It's not a pay site. It's all there for you, and it's very easy to discern what your team is up against and what it's accomplishing. You can go to the quad records and say, okay, my team has 3. Is that good? Look around, see whatever everybody else has. And that's really right now what Indiana's resume weakness is. They have one of the best wins in the country in that, you know, Rutgers has that win, although they have it at Mackey, so it's a better win. Houston, Alabama won at Houston, so that's probably in that neighborhood. So you're one of the top 3 wins in the country with that. But you only have 3 quad one wins in 9 opportunities. That's the weakness of Indiana's resume. So that's why tonight is so important, because tonight, boom, now you're 4. And the 4 and 6 doesn't look so bad. 3 and 6 doesn't look great. 4 and 6, people are like standing up at attention. And the closer you get to 500 in that rank, then they stand up and applaud. So that's why tonight is really an essential win for the Hoosiers.
Yeah, and those losses, you know, some of them are expected, but The loss to, say, Penn State, that was at home. Was it Penn State at home or
No, that was a road. That was a road. That was at State College, University Park.
Was Northwestern then? They lost at home.
Yes, Northwestern was home. Yes.
The losing to Rutgers on the road, just opportunities that the Iowa game. That's probably that's one that they would love to have back.
Oh, absolutely, because they were killing them and
up by 21,
wrecking them, and then they lost race and their defense collapsed. And one of the things that's important about what IU is doing now, and is that for the Iowa game, and I don't remember exactly, but they lost the two after that, and I don't think race played in either of those. So injuries are you given excuses for injuries? A lot of fans believe that, interpret some of the committee's messages as that way. They don't give you an excuse for injuries. However, they are looking to not punish the team ahead of you. Like if you're Indiana and they're currently a 6, say, they don't want to punish the 2 seed by making them a 7 if they're going out and beating teams like Rutgers and Purdue and teams like that on a regular basis with Jalen Hood-Schifino, who they didn't have when they played at Rutgers, or with Race Thompson, who they didn't have when they lost at home to Northwestern. So the closer they get to Hull and the more they play like this, the more the committee has to say, hey, we got to think about moving them up, because that's not fair to Tennessee, or that's not fair to Virginia, or whoever might be on the opposite line. Right now, that would be, say, a Virginia type. That's not, if they keep doing this, it's not fair to Virginia. They got to move up because when you seed, you're trying to advantage the teams that accomplish the most. That's what you're trying to do. So you don't want to punish. Do you want to punish Virginia with a second round game against an Indiana team that's going out and regularly beating Purdue and Rutgers, et cetera? That's the question. So you perform better with these guys, and then the committee takes it into account. You go out and beat Purdue, but then you lose to Rutgers and Wisconsin or whoever the next game is. And then they say, they're still kind of up and down, inconsistent, and we'll go ahead and stick them in an 8-9 game and be done with it. That's kind of what you're up against. And that's why the consistent performance with closer to a whole lineup is essential, vital for this Indiana team right now to get to a position on the bracket where they can be favored to win their way to the Sweet 16 or even beyond.